You're watching The Shift with Frida Liu, a show about sustainability where we all have to play a part in making that shift. Over 89 million people around the world have been forced to flee their homes. Among them are nearly over 27 million refugees, around 41% of whom are under the age of 18. As of end May 2023, there's some 181,300 registered and asylum seekers registered with UNHCR in Malaysia. These are the registered ones. So SDG 16 talks about peace, justice and strong institutions. Refugees and displaced persons are in need of protection and access to basic human rights. The root causes of displacement are human rights violations, risk of persecution, conflict, poor governance and loss of livelihoods. So here in Malaysia, PichaEats through the social enterprise have given back 2.6 million ringgit to refugees through their unique business proposition. I'm here with one of the co-founders, Kim Lim, and I said 2.6 million as the figure's gone up.
It's increasing rapidly now.
Okay, because I got that figure from the website and I was thinking, don't know how old the website is, the numbers must have gone up. Now, every story has a beginning, and here are 3 college girls, right, who started this in 2016. So that story in 2016, repeat yourself. I've heard this many times, but I still love it.
So basically, yeah, we've said so many times over the past 7.5 years. We started in 2016, but the whole thing started like 2014 when my co-founder Suzanne, who actually volunteered and wanted to work with refugees, and we started actually in education. So we don't know about food, we don't know about business, but we knew that we wanted refugee kids back in school.
Right.
But the root cause of the problem has always been refugee adults not being able to work. Hence, refugee kids need to go out and find part-time jobs or odd jobs to sustain their family. So from there, we thought that if like raising funds for them, sending them to school doesn't really solve the root cause of the problem, then we have to find something sustainable right here. And hence, the shift, where we thought that, sustainable food business may be something we can consider, because a lot of people in the refugee community actually can cook, but they cook for their household and their family. And we thought, if we help them to see the possibilities of cooking for people in Malaysia and the customers, maybe they can earn a sustainable living through that. And we thought maybe they can cook from home and we deal with all the logistics and operations. So in 2016, as a college student that is almost finishing our studies, we thought, why not we give it one shot and try selling it to our friends. And they liked it, and we thought, okay, let's continue this venture slowly, gradually. We got into accelerator programs, we educated ourselves, we try and accelerate our idea and get more and more refugee individuals to be with us. So we started with, the first one was from Myanmar, and then we started working with people from Afghanistan, Syria, Palestine, Pakistan, and that's where we started going international as a Malaysian, learning about different food, different cuisine, different culture, and understanding, the consumer market. And from there, we just kept growing from serving meal boxes to buffet caterings. And then later on, we started doing experiences where people come into the homes of the refugees to understand their culture and eat their food. And then later on, we also started doing frozen food and gifting. So we have expanded our product range so that we can serve more and more people in Malaysia.
Right, and of course these are college kids, and I know I've seen you girls grown and change the business model. When this doesn't work, something else come in. Of course, the frozen food came about because of the pandemic, because there were no more catering events and all that, and now you've expanded as well. So how you've worked with 35 chefs, right? So I'm sure people ask, can't you help more?
So since 2016, we've actually worked with more than 35, it's around like 40 over chefs. We've actually maintained between 15 to 18 chefs a year, and making sure that every chef can support their family. So a household is almost 5 to 8 people, depending on how big the size of the family. And what we want to make sure is that every chef and every family can pay rent every single month and can put food on the table and send their kids to school. So that meant a household may need between 3,000 to 5,000 ringgit, depending where they stay as well, to sustain themselves. And that meant is a huge commitment to make sure that they have enough money to sustain that way. And hence, we don't increase the number that much, but we deepen our impact. A lot of people always say, oh, why don't you go wide? But I realize that a lot of people in the world who are in the impact-driven enterprise do not go deep as well. So what we're trying to do right here is to deepen our impact, to make sure that these people can actually be contributive and can actually stand up for themselves, can actually use cooking as a means of
sustaining themselves.
To sustain themselves. And hence, we didn't increase chefs tremendously. Also want to make sure that quality is there as well for consumers. But we do also train refugee individuals in cooking. We have actually trained 90 to 120 individuals already. So depending of their passion in cooking, or depending what they want to do, they can actually cook with us, or they can actually go to other places to cook as well. We do have a few individuals that actually work with certain restaurants and bakery. They continue to use those skills in other places. So Picha is not the only way for them to be able to earn an
it's
income.
capacity building as well, so that now they not necessarily be here, but they can do other things
Exactly.
as well.
Actually, another impact is where refugee individuals, some are our caterers. So we actually send them to places in the corporate buildings or in households to actually set up the whole catering service and service people. So that's a different impact that we're trying to bring to refugee individuals.
Okay, so not necessarily just the cooking bit as well, right?
Yeah.
How can a business like yours scale though?
Well, we do work with a lot of individuals that cook from home. Honestly, if you want to say that it's scalable, it can and it cannot. But what our idea of scalability right now is to actually own a centralized kitchen, and a centralized kitchen that needs to be halal certified. Because once it's halal certified, we open ourselves to the halal market, and we are able to support the demand. Now that the demand is coming in, we're not able to support in time. But that also meant that we had to run a hybrid model, a hybrid model of a centralized kitchen with the home chefs. So we don't necessarily provide everything that is from the centralized kitchen. We have to design and structure the sales funnel and the customer service to be able to service consumer, helping them to understand what they are buying from and what they are supporting. So that's what we're trying to do in terms of scalability. The second one is frozen food. Frozen food was something that we came out during the pandemic. It has very huge potential. I wouldn't say in Malaysia, but potential in places like Australia or Singapore. So we're still trying to R&D, and we're still trying to see if we can penetrate those markets. Number three is to replicate our model in different places. So we have visited places like the Netherlands, where we have our chefs there who resettled. We also have people in Australia as well. So we thought if we could replicate the model and go there and see if there's any way we can help these chefs to continue their skills, to continue their livelihood there. We are looking into such possibilities as well.
The situation in Malaysia is that they technically can't work.
Yes.
Okay, so you would then act as that middle person where they are cooking from home and all that. So with the central kitchen, how does that work?
So with the centralized kitchen, we have people who are locals inside, but at the same time, we're trying to train refugee individuals with the program that we will run inside. So what we realized and what we've experimented is having a small kitchen, and then we have locals to cook inside, and then we created a program where refugee individuals will come in to learn about cutting skills, cooking skills, to learn about certain recipes. They need to learn it consistently, and then they can start replicating them at home. Because cooking is not a skill where you just teach once and then someone would get it immediately. You need consistency, you need practicing, you need training training as well. So we treat the center as a training center so that they come in and learn all these lifelong skills and replicate them at home.
Right. So in terms of revenues, your largest revenues will be from catering events?
Yes,
okay,
correct.
and working with a lot of the corporates?
Yes, correct.
And do you feel that enough knows about you when you talk about it? And are most corporates open to the idea because they know it's part of the social side, right?
Yeah.
So are you still out busy marketing, or do you feel that people really know?
Marketing is never a rest because even if people know us, they may not remember us.
Okay.
So we are constantly building our brand and constantly marketing to people. I think we have worked with people from, like Google, Amex, TikTok, Facebook, and they do get from us like our catering service for their events, but it's very important to remind them quarterly or annually, hey, we're still here, we're still standing strong, and we still have people that we need to support. So they will definitely consider us in different events. But marketing is one. Number two is operations. If operations was not done well, whether it's any catering, people will unlikely come back. At least it takes them 2 years to forget about the unfortunate event that has happened. But we try to fulfill those operations with professionalism and excellence. That's how I see how we can make sure that the branding goes a very long way.
Okay. What have you, over the years, what have been some of the challenges, right? I mean, there have been many, right? But how have you been able to pivot? And you were just saying earlier on that catering is the largest part of business. Do you want to make sure that it's not? And is that so where you get your frozen foods and your baked goods and all that?
Yeah.
Do you want to move that to be a bigger part of your business?
Catering is currently our biggest chunk, for sure. And when you mention about distributing goods and distributing frozen food, is one way to scale. But our goal is to make sure that more individuals are involved in this social enterprise that we're working on. So catering will continue to remain, and the others will definitely help us to scale different impact. So we're looking into baking goods and also frozen food in a different impact. We hope to be able to get these recipes to more people, and at the same time raise more awareness towards the refugee issue.
Right.
So we're going 2 ways. And we don't, after the whole pandemic, we don't believe in having one source of revenue. We need to make sure that we have multiple sources of revenue so that if anything happens, we can still survive. And that's basically how we survived the whole pandemic as well. So yes, catering is here to stay, although there are many challenges, but same as many other businesses, there are always challenges.
Right. When you look at what you're doing and what you've done, what is the situation like with refugees right now? Are there definitely more refugees? What are you hearing on the ground? Because we do this and we realize that we are making an impact and trying to change the status of refugees here.
Yeah.
And how do you stay close to the purpose of what you're doing?
It's very tough. So in 2016, when we were sharing about the whole refugee issue, we had 130,000 in Malaysia. But just now you just, read, or like you just mentioned, that 180 over 1,000
more.
Right? It's increasing. It's not going to decrease. With everything that's happening globally, persecution in Myanmar that is continuing, you have the Ukraine war. We have people that are traveling from Pakistan to Greece, where the boat just sank, like 2 weeks ago. We have people, escaping from civil war, but not just civil war, tribe conflict, religious issue. We also have people who are partnering with us and working with us, people who choose a different faith but had to leave their country due to that choice and that decision, right? So I feel like this is not going to end.
Right.
It feels like it's increasing and increasing, and it means that, what does it mean? It means that more kindness, more generosity needs to be shown to these people, needs to be shown to the world, because you never know that you will be one of the victims the next day. Why all these things happen is because in the government or in a very high authority sector, people are making choices that have no consideration towards the citizens and the global citizens, right? So I do think that there are a lot more empathy and kindness that needs to be practiced all around the world, especially to people and to leaders around the world. If we don't continue that, and that's what Picha is doing, to continue to nurture empathy. And if we don't do that as our mission, then more and more leaders and more people will make poor choices that are affecting everyone's livelihood and everyone's lives. And that's why Picha is doing what we're doing today.
Right. I just want to bring out another thing, which is your other school.
Yes.
Right? And this is another business model, but supporting refugees as well.
Correct.
Maybe you can just tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so what the other school tries to do is to address the lack of quality education that is given to refugee students in Malaysia. So we have 130 over refugee learning centers in Malaysia, but what's lacking is quality teachers that are being placed in these learning centers. So if you ask a donor to donate chairs, tables, and books, every donor is willing to do so. But if you ask a donor to donate and support a teacher to be in a center, they will very unlikely do so.
Right.
But what's most important is not books or chairs or tables. What's most important is having a teacher figure to guide these students, not just academically, but being as a role model for them to be better in their life and in their future. So what we're trying to do is to address that, and we're trying to create a business model that actually addresses this problem. So right now what we do is we do a lot of corporate trainings. We're still learning along the way, but we're doing trainings, we're creating trainings with different trainers to be able to channel part of these profits to support teachers in learning centers that cannot afford a teacher. Right. So that's basically what we do in the other school.
You know, I've seen you as a college student 7 years ago, right? And then, you know, what the journey, you know, you girls have taken. So what else is in store for PichaEats as you?
Oh, there's so much more. So me and Suzanne, who is my co-founder and very dear partner in crime, we have so much dreams to achieve. Besides the kitchen, the centralized kitchen that we want to set up, we really believe that we want to push policy for refugees. Okay. We know that we can't do it nationally. We can't do it just in Malaysia. We know we need to do it internationally. Right. We need to work with people, especially leaders of Southeast Asia, to push this as one continent. We can't push this as one country. Right. The reason why is we don't want a system that is not ready for this kind of influx as well. So we are trying our best to educate ourselves, to make sure that we have the tools and the connections and network to be able to push this and show to people that refugees can be contributive individuals in your country if you allow them and give them that platform. Yes, I know there are many different communities that will have challenges to handle. Refugee community, they do have their own challenges, but we really do hope that people can see past those challenges and work with us to address them with a sustainable model. I think it's really possible. It may not be big, but at least in our lifetime, it's something small that you're trying to work on. And hopefully the people who take on us later will be able to push this forward for many more individuals in the world.
All right. Thank you, Kim Lim from PichaEats. And of course, this is The Shift with Frida Liu.